Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See what I'm saying? On-chain revolution. Done this. Boom.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem, and apparently we're covering the entire heavy metal ecosystem as well here, with gold and silver actually going absolutely crazy. I mean, they are seriously trading like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The charts here are absolutely wild. I mean, you have gold is sitting at 47.37, up 3%. 3%. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars pouring in to gold, pouring into silver. You have silver up 4.4%. I mean, these are the two largest assets in the world now. Silver has taken the second spot now, past NVIDIA, which is absolutely insane. Gold is number one, silver number two, then NVIDIA and everything else, and Bitcoin is sitting down around 6 or 7. Absolutely crazy. The kind of I had no idea. I had no idea what's going to happen, but I guess with the global uncertainty right now, with Trump as president, I mean, there is nothing that's certain. This guy could wake up tomorrow with a headache and just say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," and everything changes, right? So this is not good for markets. It's not. I mean, right now we have the S&P, the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq all down at least 1%. Yeah, I mean, the stocks are getting hit hard here, and I think there's gonna be a bleed out for a while here. I think we're gonna see a bleed out with a lot of these stocks and stuff like that, and Bitcoin trading like a tech stock right now, kind of just doing whatever the Nasdaq is doing, is dropping heavily. But there's a lot of good news in the markets today. Bermuda basically goes fully on chain. It's kind of like the testing bed. Coinbase and Circle have partnered with Bermuda, and they're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff there. We're going to get into that. And on top of that, we got Solana. 70% of the entire supply is staked. Just think about that for a second. 30% of the Solana supply is there for trading. I mean, we might see an explosion really soon, with just some big players potentially coming in and seeing that and saying, okay, it's time to get in there. So that's something we're going to talk about. In the trenches today, the news from the trenches is going to be wild, because we do have some stuff from Pump Fund. Are they pivoting from streaming and going full on with this new style? I don't even know what you want to call it. It seems like they're pivoting from everything, not just from the meme coin launchpad, but potentially becoming a normal launchpad. Back, in 2020, the biggest winners, 2021, were the launchpads. And, are they trying to be that again and get away from this meme coin corruption that they created, right? We're going to be getting into some other stuff too, with the bag stuff as well. The guy Steve Hughes or whatever, he basically came out and said, "Screw you guys! Like, I'm just gonna keep building. Like, I'm sorry, but that token is down almost 99% from the all-time high, which is wild, absolutely wild." And then the Trove stuff. Oh my goodness, we have a lot to cover there. From being a hyper liquid project that was going to allow you to do crazy stuff crazy stuff with digital. I mean, not digital, like real cards. You're able to take longs and shorts on Charizard. Now they're coming out and they pivoted to Solana. They dropped their token and it's down 85%. Wild. And BingX, they came out and they're basically saying, yo, we're making more money from selling gold, in our exchange than anything else. It's pretty crazy. And they're making more money from TradFi stocks as well than they are with the crypto altcoins. Are we about to see a pivot from all these big exchanges going into TradFi? And where does that leave us? Where does that leave crypto when our biggest exchanges potentially are leaving to go sell gold? I don't know, guys. Well, we have a lot to cover, a lot to get into. Put the comments in the chat. Make sure you guys are liking the stream. But without further ado, let's get the show started. Bring my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I do like that there's a lot of news in the pipeline today for to talk about. There's a lot of stuff happening. That's good. Whenever price isn't necessarily great, and at least you can feel like stuff is happening. Things are moving. Innovation hopefully is starting to form more aggressively. But yeah, so I'm excited to jump into some of these things. The Trove topic really gets me excited. Well, it did before the news about the pivot and stuff, because I think that could be such a good solution to the hobby, for collectibles, having kind of like this average price per asset and being able to speculate on it. Right now, it's basically having to use an app on your phone to see the last 5 sales, and then you negotiate and with whoever you're trying to buy from or sell from in real life, and then you make that. But if you can have an average of like the past 100, and there's a product out there like that, not only will it help the hobby space, but it creates a new market.
You do realize that they've rugged, right?
Yeah, I'm saying if someone can pull that off, right? If someone can pull that off, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like the idea behind it, right, is a good idea. Obviously, the way they handled it, not good, right? If someone else can do that, or if they do something on Solana, they probably pissed everybody off to the point where they're not going to be able to do it. But if someone can pick up that idea and push through, I think that'd be an amazing idea. And then you just go to Bermuda going fully on chain with their economy. There's a lot of stuff to get into, So in that aspect, I really like what's happening in the news cycle today, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into it. Let's get into our first topic today, which is Bermuda partners with Coinbase and Circle to build a full economy. So Bermuda is partnering with Coinbase and Circle to become the first fully on-chain national economy. USDC will be piloted across government agencies and expanded to merchants and customers. Banks and issuers will get tokenization and digital financing tools. And this was all announced, as Davos is happening. We're at the World Economic Forum in Davos. So Bermuda coming out and saying we're going to be the first on-chain economy, fully on-chain. When you buy or sell in Bermuda, which is like a tiny little island, but I mean it's a good test bed for what is happening here. It does look like the U.S. is like test it there, and if you guys bring it to if this works there 100%, we'll start it here. We'll start it in places like Florida and the Wyoming, places that are actually already on the verge of doing it anyway. They're kind of watching this now, what's happening with Bermuda. And if Coinbase and Circle have the tools in place to do this stuff and they're giving them to Bermuda, we could see a lot of innovation happening very quickly.
Yeah, and Bermuda's like, we'll be the test bed here, because if it goes well, that could really benefit them from their government, right, or their economy and stuff like that, and just having this new being at the forefront for them, right? It brings headlines to them, attention to them. Obviously it's a vacation area that a lot of people go to, but this is something different, right? That can bring some positive attention there. And for Coinbase and Circle, this is like perfect testing grounds.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember FTX was there. FTX that's where they were headquartered. They were the biggest.
I thought they were at the Bahamas.
Isn't Bermuda Bahamas?
I think they're
pretty. I think they're. Is that same area?
No, those are two different.
Oh, I don't know.
Countries. Yeah, but I mean, it's all in the same vicinity, I imagine.
Yeah, it's the same shit. But yeah, I guess Bermuda, it's different, whatever. So, I could have sworn ain't they connected in somehow?
Maybe
they're the same. I thought they were the same thing.
No, they're
All
two
right.
distinct different islands,
Well, Kermit the
destinations.
Frog lied to me. 'Cause my whole life I was thinking they were the same. But yeah, so this will be pretty cool to kind of see what happens next here with this Bahamas thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
Bermuda thing.
you know, you just it's almost kind of like, you know, get the data from the situation, and if they're willing to go along with it, yeah, you know, and I think this will be good because if it does well, that could, you know, be really, really good.
I mean, as a crypto vacation hub too, potentially you go there with some USDC and a MetaMask and you don't have to use your bank at all. You're just everything you're just scanning QR codes and paying straight with your MetaMask. On
Yeah.
using base chain. So
Yeah, maybe hotels go into like loyalty rewards or something to use the blockchain technology as well. So, I mean, this is kind of just the start. So let's kind of see how it goes and then go from there.
100%. We got some comments here. We got a great myself says, I'm curious
Yo.
to see what kind of crazy news will come out of Davos. I mean, it's already starting. I have some Ray Dalio basically came out. We'll get into that in a little bit. Courtney Johnson says, "What's up, guys? My guy, appreciate you, Courtney." DJ Clitty Litter says, "Yo, Bitcoin to 70K." Shizzy was right. Hey, that's my prediction. I think we're gonna hit like 66K by October 6th, which is 1 year from the all-time high of 126. I think it's going to
It's a
be a
long
down.
ways away.
It really is. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen very quickly. I think we're going to grind down to like pretty hard. But
Up
I
and
do
down?
think potentially, yeah, mainly down. But a little bit of up. I don't think it goes straight down to 70. But I do think
Yeah.
that we have a grind down to 85, back up to 90. You know what I mean? And then 82 and something like that. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the 4-year cycle is still intact for Bitcoin. And I think potentially if that's true, then October 6th could mark the low. So Chips and Dip is here, Vader Time is here, Spin Drifts Crypto, Kane99, appreciate you guys, and then Jason Sinkar, my guy, appreciate you, man. Where's where's Ryan at, man? You're not blowing up our chat. We miss you, Ryan. But let's get into the crypto price action and crypto bubbles.
All right, let's do it. Before we do, guys, help us out like you always do. Appreciate your help on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. All that good stuff that helps us out. It truly does help us as well. So you know when we go live, right? And then on X, let's share the space. Get as many people in here as possible. And shout out to Abstract Crew, Zora over there, and then Pump Fun Streams, and then also, of course, you got Rumble. Make sure you get your wallet downloaded over there. And then we got Spotify and Twitch, as well as jump into some price action here. The price action right now is kind of, sideways with a downtrend is what we kind of woke up to, right? And we always do start off with the hour chart here. You can see that we had this downtrend starting really last Wednesday. Right, last Wednesday, so almost a week ago, we hit this peak up here about 98K, and then we know what happened Sunday, which was this big dump here, and yesterday was sideways with another leg down. So this situation right here is kind of what I was a little bit worried about yesterday. I said, if we do get another leg down, how aggressive is, and it's weird because it wasn't like just a pure just hardcore bleed out like this, which this got stopped here, put the tourniquet on it a little bit and went sideways. And this was kind of just a gradual down leg again. Do we get another leg down? That could be the situation here, right? I thought maybe this would be a little bit pushed out to next week, but as you can see here, let's get back to the hour chart for today. So the MACD is showing the sell pressure is starting to exhaust a bit here. You can see the fast line wants to start to curl up. So that's a good sign that we might have a little bit pushed back up, maybe into 91. Maybe we flirt with 92, but 91.5 or something like that today. But I don't expect any explosive to the upside or really even necessarily to the downside today. But yeah, so what I'm seeing right now is just getting out of the sell pressure. We are in that kind of mid-range for the stochastic RSI in that 52-point area right here, right? So it's going to make a decision. It's going to either say, hey, we're going to head to overbought territory and get maybe back to 91.5, 92 possibly, or we'll hang out here and maybe extend this out, right? As of right now, it seems like it wants to pick to go back up for the next 2 to 4 hours. So that's what I'm thinking. Sideways with a little bit of uptrend is kind of what I'm seeing for the next 2 to 4 hours. So that is Bitcoin for the next 2 to 4 hour window. And then you see the 4 hour here. The 4 hour looks not great. You can see this sell pressure did extend, so it looked like it wanted to exhaust and close up, but it actually grew stronger, right? And then you see the leg continuing here to the downside, right? So we need to see this start to curl up, this blue line. So, you know, honestly, I don't really see that happening, even if we get to 91.5 or 92, because that's not going to be aggressive enough to really try to close this up. So, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if this just extends out even further. We get to Wednesday, maybe even Thursday, and maybe that's whenever it closes up. So something I'm keeping my eye on, though, is the shorter time frame, the hour chart that I just showed you. Can we get aggressive to the upside? I mean, I don't think so. There's just nothing that's like really giving us that strong positive sentiment with price action right now. If you had to pick any sentiment, it's negative, because you got tariffs, you got stuff in the news. You know, gold is just soaring, and the precious metals are doing amazing, and usually Bitcoin doesn't go like hand in hand with it in terms of gold going up. It does follow sometimes. And we'll see if that happens. But yeah, so the 4 hour doesn't look great for Bitcoin. Then you look at the daily. The daily is just now starting the sell pressure session. So this is something to look at, you know, the next couple of days. Do we start to grow strength to the downside here on the daily chart for the MACD indicator, right? The momentum indicator, because you can see stochastics just crossed over the 20-point mark here, which is that official oversold mark. But you can see that fast line on the MACD curling down. If we start to get this to be like straight down, this could start to form some really strong sell session candles here on the MACD. So that's something to keep your eye on. And then we could really, you know, maybe by Friday could see something, you know, maybe in the high 80s, 87, 88 or something. So definitely looking at this as well. One other chart I have been looking at for the past couple of weeks is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. And this is the one that had a really good setup, right? You see this extreme sell pressure, that had a continuation from 1010 on. And, we haven't gotten out of this yet on the weekly chart. And it looked like we wanted to possibly, but what could happen here is this could actually get nasty. So let's say that, the setup was good, obviously, but we get like a kind of a 180 here happening on the stochastic RSI, as well as this fast line. If that happens, man, we could be seeing, some mid-low 80s, high 70,000s in the next 3 weeks if this happens. So obviously it depends on the shorter time frames, the daily that we looked at. So that's why I think the daily is really important, because we go back to the daily here, you can start to judge. That's the monthly. Let me go to the daily. You can start to judge how aggressive the sell down is for the daily chart, right? And if it starts to get really aggressive after about 3 to 4 days, that weekly chart could start to look pretty nasty, at least for the short term, right? And so something I'm keeping my eye on there. Looking at Ethereum, it's going to be very similar in terms of trailing Bitcoin, but let's take a look here on the hour. Hour chart doesn't look good. The extensions here looks like it wants to probably continue. Yeah, it does show a little bit of breaking down here, but if this starts to curl down, then that's not a good sign. Also, we've been down here for a while, though. You go back to, well, I say a while, but like yesterday or 2 days ago. No, yesterday, Monday. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's really going to determine what ETH wants to do. I mean, honestly, that's what it is. I've been keeping track of this, for a long time, and unless ETH decides to do its own thing, like it did in June and July, it's going to look to Bitcoin for guidance. And you can see on the 4 hour, it's looking strong for sell pressure. So very similar thesis I have daily, just getting started with the sell pressure. So yeah, guys, sit tight. Probably more down, sideways with some downtrend. That's what I got for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the crypto bubble is going to be nasty. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Wow. The top 100 definitely has more green than I expected with some of these CC, but the green pull-ups are very, very minimal. You're looking at like 0.5 to 3%. Dash is like the leader here at a pull-up of 3.6%. But hey, at least they're not bleeding. And I expect them to probably catch up to Bitcoin and start following that though. But we got about a 90 to 10% ratio. So the stuff that's pulling back though, it's not really pulling back much either. So this is an interesting crypto bubbles right now. You know, for the alt markets really acting a little bit strange, I feel like, where it's not obviously pulling up aggressively at all by any means, but it's not pulling back aggressively at all. You know, you see some of these other alts like 0.4. We're not seeing anything get demolished, and we're not seeing anything really thrive in a huge way as well. So, you know, seems like they're just kind of sitting on the sideline right now, waiting for direction as well.
Dude, I'm thinking this is the year we're gonna see crypto break away from Bitcoin. I think, you know, Bitcoin's going to be kind of down only this year, but I can see crypto as a whole really kind of outpacing Bitcoin in the sense of completely different asset class almost eventually, because these assets are so beaten down. They're so beaten down. You can't go any further down, right? The bottom is in for a lot of these coins.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are beaten down pretty bad. And there was a lot of talk about how, you know, tokenizing stocks and stuff and assets with the New York Stock Exchange is going to hurt like other crypto, like layer 1 coins and stuff, just because now more people have access that are in on-chain activities. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think some maybe, you know, but like the stronger L1s and, you know, L2s that have reason why they're here, I think will still do fine and they'll have their moments. I think the fluff and the vapor will definitely get hit probably though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, nothing really sticking out. Dash up 4%, ICP up 3% here. And then you look at the top 200, Bard up 2.7%. Very similar situation. XCN, our guy Jason, probably sitting waiting for this call out, up 4%. There you go. Hopefully that made your day there. But yeah, I mean, pretty much same play out here in the top 100 through 200 here. But yeah, I mean, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum not looking too hot, and the alts not looking too horrible. So interesting mixed bag here. But we'll see how the alts do later in the show as well. I'm going to take a look at the crypto bubbles in the second half of the show. But that's it for you
you're
guys.
On the hourly. Does that make a difference, or you're on the daily?
It definitely does. It definitely does. And there we go.
Yeah,
that's what
there
I
we go. I was looking at that because my bubbles look way different than yours.
Thank you for pointing that out. There we go. Okay, I was about to say what's going on here. Okay, that makes sense.
Because I just pulled up my bubbles and I'm just like, what am I?
I feel like that was set up, man. That was that. There it is. Like there, Shizzy's crypto bubbles are the truth there. Now, okay, so another quick glance. Then it matches up with Bitcoin and Ethereum here.
That's what I'm saying, because after I said that, I was like, hold up.
Yeah, you switched to the daily, but yeah, it looks like the CC token, which was the leader on the hourly anyways, right? Is the big winner here, 18.5%. Okay, now you look across here in the top 100.
Yeah.
XMR down 13%, Dash down 6%, River up 12%, Pump up 4.4%, ETH down 5.5%. So yeah, I mean, now it matches up a lot more with you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum. That was definitely my bad, guys. I dropped the ball on that one. But you can see in the top 100 through 200, though, AXS up about 20% here. Merlin pulling back about 12%. That was a big hit for sure. Frax down 20%. And then Sand up 6% with Bard up 3.4%. But across the board, it's about actually, so this makes a lot more sense, about 8 to 10% pullback on average between
a good hour
one through it was a good hour. So I guess things are about to turn around. You can use that to forecast. I don't know, but yeah, so that is more of a clear picture there.
For sure. All right. Let's kind of get into some comments here. Stan says Bermuda, the new vacay. I mean, it really could buy a lot of crypto guys for sure. Myself says all coins will pump. Didn't think that magic trick of making XCN disappear. LOL.
Because it disappeared when I switched to the daily.
Gotcha. All right. Kind of getting to the biggest news. One of the biggest things that everyone is talking about right now is this gold and silver. So silver is at 90. Dude, look at this chart, bro. This is the monthly. Like, this is the monthly chart of silver. Like, it's
God.
crazy. And then gold's like, obviously hold my beer. But gold is trading like Bitcoin. It's up 3% on a day, and then silver is trading like Ethereum. It's just it's basically just a uh leverage trading position on going to gold. As silver goes up, as gold goes up, silver just kind of follows here. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, is gold and silver the new Bitcoin and Ethereum?
I think it's the old Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it's now
Well,
it's back in the
they never
spotlight.
did this. They never did this before. I mean, you go back in
Really? I would think
history,
that they would correlate.
I mean, you've had back in, maybe 2010 where it had a run like this, right? But like never like this.
I mean, that is absolutely crazy.
You know what I mean, dude? Like
Well, that's
this is a
pretty
Ethereum
crazy.
chart.
When it went up, was that 2010 the first time the green candle went up like that?
This was caused by a recession, right? This was caused by a global recession. So, and we're not in a global recession.
But we're in a
Are we?
global uncertainty of, some people are worried about, not worried, but like almost people are making moves, man, globally. I mean, the whole deal with China and Canada with the EVs, that's a big movement. When you talk about how the global economy worked before,
Yeah, but I mean, 2008 was a terrible time. You know what I mean? Like,
it was a terrible
everyone was
time.
completely like, is a US about to go into like the Great Depression? I mean, the stock market's at an all-time high. You know what I mean? Like that time stock market was at an all-time low. Like, I mean, not all-time low, but it was like, it was
what's
down
the biggest,
like 60%.
what would you say is the biggest catalyst for gold and silver right now?
Biggest catalyst for gold and silver right now?
I have my answer.
Yeah, it would probably be the fact that, Trump's could wake up tomorrow and say, we're attacking Iran. Like, I just think that we have a loose cannon as the president of the United States. The biggest, political figure in the world is Donald Trump, and he could just change his mind at the drop of a dime. I think that's the problem.
I think that's definitely, part of it, but I think China is the catalyst though. So, like the catalyst is like the fact that they're so pro gold and precious metals. And it looks like that is where, everybody knows that people reach for gold as like a life preserver as well. But the fact is that, you just mentioned, stock market is looking strong. These things are looking strong. So for me, I think the catalyst is China right now. And the fact that they are able to play from this world game, geo economy type of game of chess, and they're doing pretty damn good.
For sure. And Ray Dalio basically came out at the what is it called? What is it? The Davos convention or whatever the frick it is. He basically said that the current monetary order is breaking down, and fiat is no longer a central bank asset. And central banks are dumping the dollar right now, or selling the dollar and buying gold. And he's somebody who predicts that China's yuan will be the next global power. He has this weird chart thing that I was actually watched this yesterday. It might be on his official channel, but he thinks that the China yuan is going to be the new reserve currency of the world, and no longer the US dollar. And he basically is saying that because of it's like, the pound was it before, and now it's the dollar, and every 250 years it changes.
Yeah, well, the Danish, was it the Danish currency? I forgot what it was called before the pound, and then what always happened was that they would get in so many wars that they couldn't pay their debt back, and that's what happened in Denmark, I believe, and then England went through that, and then the U.S. was next, but the U.S. was able to consistently prop it up because you could print, and all those countries did create more of their own currencies, but eventually it would just collapse. And so, I mean, if you haven't listened to Ray Dalio's, I forgot what it's called though, is New World Order? Is that what it's called, or something like that? You should, because it's really interesting. You learn a lot about the history of world reserve currencies, and can maybe forecast a little bit of what's possibly to come, right? But I feel like I felt at least that we were at least like 50 to 100 years away from something like that. But things seem to be maybe, expediting here lately.
Yeah, quickly, very quickly. So he has this video, but you have to like go through it to kind of see it and stuff like that. But go check it out. It's it's on his X account, and also he talks about that a lot. So kind of gotten that. So Danish pension fund will sell all U.S. treasuries by the end of January. So you're seeing countries now coming out and publicly saying like, yo, we're selling all of our U.S. treasury. We do not want to hold U.S. debt right now, because everyone knows we're about to print tons of money. We're about to print and print and print, and it actually already started. Right, it started with on from January 15th to February 12th, the Federal Reserve will buy back $55 billion in treasuries, including $40 billion in short-term bills and $15 billion in maturing bills. So this is about to get insane. We're about to print money into the dollar, completely dying out. I mean, we have to buy back these bonds if all these countries are selling it, especially if China starts selling rapidly to buy more gold.
Yeah, I mean, and there could be a concentrated effort with the countries that are not happy with, the current administration as well. I mean, Denmark, the first thing that sticks out to me is Greenland, because I believe they are the governing country over Greenland. And so, going through that and then saying that they're going to sell all these assets, right, which are going to hurt us, So, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff that's happening right now. I mean, what's the only option? It's probably to print a ton, but how long can that be propped up for?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we get the tariffs maybe we don't need to print money. Maybe we get more tariffs because Trump comes out and threatens France's president Macron and says we're going to tax your wine and champagnes if you don't join the Board of Peace. Like, what the hell? What the hell is the Board of Peace? When did this prop up? And why are we about to tax 200%? It's just crazy, right? And at the same time, we're waiting for the Supreme Court to issue a ruling of if these tariffs are even legal, right? Like, this is the chart here. There's a 33% chance. It's definitely, it's dropping here. It's definitely up from a few days ago, but it's at 30%. So, and every single day I go and I search it up and it says, they will not rule today. They will not rule today. So we were supposed to have a ruling like 2 weeks ago and we didn't. So they're still in like session on this. I don't know. But like, it's just crazy that he's still coming out like over the weekend saying tariffs, and today coming out, it's like 200% tariff on France. I'm just so tired of this, dude. I don't know. I think a Democratic Congress would actually be sought after at this point. At least we'll have some checks and balances in place where this stuff can't just happen like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew that this was going to happen in terms of using it as a, card up his sleeve type of situation. For a bit, it was working, get what you want type of situation. But when the world starts to gang up against that strategy, that becomes extremely much, hard to have success with it. And I just don't know, like you got to play your cards probably a little bit better, not so in people's face. And that's probably why, I personally think that like intelligence agencies do get involved with a lot of stuff that is geopolitical, and they'll never admit that. But when you're playing chess against the world powers, the last thing you want to do is forecast your next move.
I mean, he's sitting at that card game with a sword in his hand, and like,
and a pistol.
You know what I mean?
It's do it.
Yeah,
do it.
he's sitting there like fully loaded with, and he's just like, do not flip that card. You know what I mean? So he's just like, I don't know.
He has the grenade on his chest. He's like, do it. I'll pull it.
I
And we all
know,
go
and we all go
we
down, right? Like it's crazy, man. And on top of that, we're dealing with this Japan carry trade, right? That a lot of these economists and stuff like that are forecasting here as well. The Japan yield is at the highest it's been in a very, very long time. I mean, is that a 40-year government yield hitting 4% is a big deal because it signals a sharp repricing of Japan's super long borrowing costs, which anchored the near zero for years. So for the longest time, Japan's it was 0% interest to borrow in Japan, and then you take that money and you buy U.S. government bonds and you make 4%. So you're paying zero, APY here, but then you're getting 4%.
the
So
cheat code.
it was like the money printers. You borrow from Japan and then you buy US treasuries, and that was the biggest thing. And that's another reason why potentially you're going to see a lot of US treasuries get sold down, because they got to pay back. They're losing money now, because the highest treasury bond, even like a 30-40 year, you're only getting 4%. But so you're going to see a lot of sell down coming from the bond industry, and hopefully Jerome Powell and the team can come in and buy a lot of that up with printed money, because it could get really bad for the bondholders. And if the bondholders get hit, the entire market gets hit.
Yeah, Japan has to do this though to protect their economy. So what they've done is they basically have put Japan's interest first, like and foremost. And I still think they're very friendly to the U.S. in terms of the governments, but it is like they're taking care of their situation, which I don't blame them, right? How is it going to continually affect us? I'm not sure, because we are pretty tied in tightly with Japan.
Yeah, 100%. Myself has a great comment here. He said, if the dollar supply increased 50% over the past 5 years, how much will it increase over the next 5 years? I mean, another 50%. I mean, so right now we're at what, $42 trillion in debt. We'll be $64 trillion in 5 years. I mean, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I mean, plus if it's needed as well, like, that's the biggest thing is, during the last 5 years, you at least had an excuse. If you want to give someone an excuse, you can say, okay, COVID hit, so there just needed to be a more available capital to take care of things, the whole situation. But this next 5 years, it's, if there is this grand plan to replace, the financial system, and this current administration wants to do that, I mean, it's like blow it up is kind of probably the mentality, and I just don't, at what cost though? Who's going to suffer the most? I think it's going to be the everyday people.
I mean, that's the only people that do suffer. The rich don't suffer. You know what I mean? Like, who else? It's the rich and the poor. I mean, the poor actually make out really well in bad situations because they get all this free money. It's the middle class suffers the most. Yeah. So, Courtney Johnson says, I think Trump is more pro gold than crypto. Remember, he remodeled the White House with gold trim and stuff. He's never been. He got a gold toilet, he says, back in the day. He's never been a gold guy though. He's been a real estate guy, Manhattan real estate and stuff like that, Mar-a-Lago. So golf course. He's never because his balance sheet is basically out in the open, right? Because they're so I don't think they hold gold at all.
I don't know if they do or not, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did. He does like flashy stuff, but like that's more probably for materialistic purposes.
Where's
right?
it on his hands? Not
but I do think like his kids have a lot of influence on him now, and I think that's why he talks about crypto a lot, is because he's trusting his children in terms of what they believe. I don't know if that's a great thing or not, but he's at least it's got him to Bitcoin conferences, and with Barron, it helped him win the election, in terms of getting on these podcasts and all this stuff. So maybe he just has that built up trust, and that's why he keeps, wanting to stick with crypto being like this next solution.
Well, his family got debanked, right? I mean,
that is true too.
That's a big part of it. If you get debanked, you're like, oh shit, like they can just take away everything that I own. You know what I mean? I think that's a bigger reason. I think you're right. I think it is the kids, but I think, getting debanked and, almost killed and arrested all in the same year and then become president. I mean, it will. It really does. So let's get into some good stuff here, though. Strategy announced the acquisition of 22,305 Bitcoin. This is a huge monster buy, 2.13 billion at an average cost of 95,284 per Bitcoin. So Saylor, he posted this chart, and his buys are getting bigger and bigger, dude. Like they're just absolutely. I mean, they're not this big yet. Back what he was doing in 2024, but they're pretty damn massive, and it's real clustered right now because we know he has to buy. He has to, and we're seeing also people are coming in and actually buying MSTR. So you had this big I forget who it was, came in and just bought a crap load of MSTR, but Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin here.
Yeah, I mean, puts confidence out there when you see these headlines, right? And I mean, look, if you look at Bitcoin right now, it's probably, if it forms that next shoulder on the 4 hour and daily, then this could be cheap for him right now, right? And then because it could pop up to around that, like right below 105 mark, and then come down. So it's like maybe he's thinking, okay, he's projecting that maybe in March we do have that pop up, or late February. Obviously, the shoulder will bring it back down, but right now would be considered cheap. So maybe that's why he turned it up in terms of amount. But you are right. He does have to consistently buy, and they have to be strategic about it. You don't want to buy a ton whenever you think it's going to go up in 2 to 3 weeks. So this could actually be a good sign that we might see a little bit of short-term bullishness. It might take a week or two, and then we see it, and then it comes down after that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But this is it right here. $12 trillion Vanguard index fund bought 1.23 million shares of MSTR worth $202 million.
That's crazy, dude.
And they said that's just the first buy. They want to bring this index fund up like 4 to 5% of MSTR. So it's kind of their way of getting Bitcoin in there without having to buy BlackRock, right? So it's kind of like Vanguard doesn't have their own ETF because they were against it, but they don't want to buy it. They don't want to enrich BlackRock, so they're going and buying MSTR, which is allowing MicroStrategy, as their MSTR goes up, they're able to borrow more, right? And that's why you're kind of seeing these big buys right now, because they probably had a conversation with Vanguard, like, hey, if you buy our shares, we'll buy more Bitcoin.
Yep, flywheel, right?
Yep.
Flywheel, and that could be a crazy chain reaction, right? But that just made me think, how crazy does that have to be in terms of like competition between those two fund managers? I mean, you're talking about 12 versus 13 trillion, something like that. Like, and I would imagine they have a lot of the similar things that are aligned that they want to happen with like global politics and global like economies, but like then like they're competing with each other as well. So it's weird. I get what you're saying. Like they don't want to buy into like the BlackRock ETF because that would help BlackRock. But do they create their own, or do they just go through this strategy, which could be a win-win as well? And I guess the correlation of maybe MicroStrategy looking really strong as a stock and then Bitcoin following up afterwards could be a big thing if they can prove like how aggressive that could look, right? So I don't know, man. This could be a start to something.
Yeah, 100%. And with BlackRock coming out and saying, hey, our IBTC is our biggest moneymaker, Vanguard got to be sitting there. They got to be drooling over that, right? Because their biggest competitors coming out and telling you, hey, this is our biggest thing. And they were so against it. Their CEO came out and said, they had to fire their CEO because of what he said. And they're still kind of working their way into the crypto ecosystem, but they're going to be left behind. I can see Fidelity passing Vanguard one day because of the fact that Vanguard was so against crypto. So Vanguard has to really put the pedal to the floor here when it comes to crypto and kind of get something going. Otherwise, they're going to get pushed back pretty far.
Well, the good thing for them is that they have the power and the buy power to do that, right? The buy side power to do that, because they just have like so much in terms of, I mean, of course, it's that total amount of 12 trillion is funds managed, but they have 12 trillion funds managed. I'm sure they have a good amount of excess capital, and plus they have their network and how their business model works with their clients to kind of help with that as well. So, Yeah, you know, they definitely were behind the curve on it, and now I think they can catch up though. And maybe this is a part of that strategy of catching up and just getting to a point where they feel like they're competing.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens there. But as of January 19th, Strategy holds a total of 709,000 Bitcoin, acquired for approximately $53 billion at an average cost of $75,000 per Bitcoin. So they're buying, their cost is getting higher and higher, almost 76,000. I mean, this was their first purchase was $8,000 Bitcoin, right? So now it's 75,000, and they're buying more and more of it. Wow. I mean, we're probably going to see them hit 1 million Bitcoin the next year. What do you think, a year or so?
That's a lot of Bitcoin. It's a lot of Bitcoin. Possibly. And you know, if it were to crash, Bitcoin were to crash down to like 70K, do you think they would just go like heavy into it? I mean, do
No,
you think they
they
would slow down?
so I mean, if you look at this chart here, every time Bitcoin dumps, they buy less. And every time
Yeah,
Bitcoin
but what
pumps,
if
they buy more.
but what if, let's say that Bitcoin dumps, right? To like that 75, 70,000,
Yeah.
and Vanguard just keeps buying up strategy though. And then
Yeah.
that allows them to buy like cheap, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, they have to have, you know, all of these fail safe type of strategies of, if Bitcoin crashes to this price, what do we do? You know, so I don't know. You know, it's almost kind of like if they get to a point to where they feel pretty safe, it's almost kind of like are they drooling at cheaper prices, or are they nervous?
I don't think they care with the prices.
Yeah.
I think the only number they care about is 709, 715. Like, and they want that to be 1 million, honestly. So who knows? But Tom Lee's BitMine buys 35,628 Ethereum worth 110 million, pushing its total holdings to 14.5 billion, with ETH making up 13.5 billion of that. So pretty crazy. You know, Tom Lee's just, they're heavily buying. I mean, 2 billion and 110 million are a lot different. So strategy is definitely acquiring more here. But I think we both say it all the time. They have to keep buying. They have to. They have no choice.
They do it in tandem, I feel like, almost, to
Yeah.
where, like, do they call each other and he's like, all right, you
Well,
buying today? I'm buying.
it's every week,
I'm
right?
buying.
Like,
You buying?
I
I'm
think Tom
buying.
Lee hasn't taken a week off. MicroStrategy has taken weeks off, but then they go out and they quadruple their most recent buy. So
Yeah.
crazy there. So but your guy Marty Party actually put out a really good Bitcoin chart that, if I was kind of thinking maybe we go the opposite way, this one really kind of talked to me a little bit, because I love charts, but this is it right here. So Marty Party says Bitcoin approaching 60 days of accumulation. Look at the last accumulation zone, 62 days. We had 58 days now, so he's expecting 4 days us to kind of fly up here, and this is the chart here. He says every single time that we've had accumulation, we've have exploded to the upside. And it's true. I mean, look at it. Every time we have these sideways drawbacks, I mean, this one's going all the way back since November, and now we're heading into almost there. So he's basically
Well,
saying we
what
could
about
pop.
those two gaps before that?
What do you mean?
You know, like that one that was way longer than 60 days. If you go back to March of 2024, right?
We still popped up each
No,
time.
I'm talking about like whenever it did pop up, right? And then it went sideways for a long time right there. It went sideways for a long time. So that's
Yeah,
longer than 62 days for sure.
but that's after a pop, right? We're at a drawdown. So he's kind of talking about these
Oh,
drawdowns,
the
right? Like
drawdowns. Okay.
the drawdowns and
Oh,
then the
that one's a
sideways.
pop up. And if you go to
Right
that
here,
one,
you're right. No, you're
no,
right
no,
here
if you
is
go, no, if you go to the one before that, too.
here.
No, before the other direction.
This one.
Yeah, that was a pop up before it went
Yeah.
sideways. You know, so I don't know what his, maybe he's saying on most of the time that happens. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's what he's saying, but I mean, if you look at the one after that, like it went sideways forever and then it went
Yeah.
up. But look, I mean,
You think he's grasping at straws here? Is that
well, maybe a little bit. Not, I mean, not necessarily a little bit. Like there's definitely a pattern. You see a pattern, but it's not guaranteed, obviously. But nothing is when you look
yeah.
at data and analytics, right? So you see it happen enough to where this could be a similar situation, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the last time it did happen, though, we went up and came right back down. So it wasn't anything special there. So
Well,
I
we
don't
went
know.
up. We went up for quite a while though, because this is the
We did.
daily. You know,
No, you're
so
right.
it
Yeah.
like so you know how I look at that weekly chart, and
Yeah.
I've been saying I love the setup for the weekly for Bitcoin, but like it's gotten a little bit away from what it looked like obviously last week, right?
Yeah.
But if this happens, then that weekly chart will play out. It will play out to where that setup on the downside, which looks primed to explode to the upside, will happen. But what are we, 59? So if this happens, it has to happen within the next 3 days, though.
Yeah,
Because
it
if you look
does.
at the days, the highest amount of days was 62, I think.
Yeah. 62, 62, 62. Is that was he coming out saying the 58 days aren't good? So, I don't know. I don't know. Now rethinking that one there, but let's move along here. Magic Eden shares revenue with ME stakers in USDC. So Magic Eden, they're doing something different here. So a lot of these other places are coming out and they're saying we're just going to buy back the token hyperliquid style. Magic Eden is like, hey, we're going to be allocating 15% of the platform revenue to ME ecosystem, split evenly between token buybacks. So they are still doing the buyback and UST. So 50% will go to buying back the token, and other 50% will be going to stakers. They're trying to get more of the supply staked, right? The rewards depend on stake size and duration. Monthly distributions with a 90-day claim window. 2025 revenue reported around 24 million. So they're saying you do have to claim this in 90 days. So if you are a Magic Eden stakeholder, I am one of them. You have to make sure you're paying attention because you only have 90 days to claim these. So we'll see how to see what happens with this. But I thought this was very bullish for Magic Eden. Magic Eden, in my opinion, is the -- 1 NFT platform. I mean, I check Magic Eden before I check OpenSea. And maybe that's just me because of the Bitcoin ordinals and stuff like that. But I think Magic Eden is probably one of the top companies in crypto, and I think one day you're going to see the ME token really explode.
Yeah, but their annual revenue is not that great for being a top
OpenSea's
project.
isn't that
Well,
great either, though.
I think it speaks more towards the NFT sector than it does anything else. Because I think Magic Eden does a pretty good job, with being a marketplace for ordinals, NFTs, etc.
Yeah.
But 24 million in a year's revenue, I think that they would, I don't know, like NFTs definitely need to come back for them to be in that thriving category. Out of all the NFT platforms, yeah, I'm curious what OpenSea's revenue would be from last year. That's a good
They don't
thing.
do ordinals or Solana NFTs either.
Yeah. Well, I think they're gonna bring ordinals in. They mentioned it, but they
had a conversation with Casey, but it didn't go well.
Gotcha.
Casey said that during all his podcasts. They reached out to him and had a conversation, but notification. But they're only doing EVM. Like they're not doing They're not doing Solana. They're not doing Bitcoin. I don't know. It seemed like they're behind on the curve a little bit. OpenSea. That's why I really love Magic Eden, because they're just so, to me, they're so about innovation. So, but speaking about Solana's staking ratio reaches 70%, making an all-time high. About 70% of SOL supply is staked, roughly 60 billion, securing the network. Ethereum sits closer to about 28 to 30%. So look at this chart. We do talk about Ethereum staking a lot, but this thing is just on a trend right now, upward trend. Solana's 70% of all the Solana is staked. That is insane. 30% is traded. Like, that's wild. Like, I feel like we could see a squeeze in Solana price really soon.
We could. We just like that, but this shows like how bad demand is right now for altcoins. You know what I mean? I mean, because the 70% is staked right now. Imagine if that was the case in 2021, right? Like I feel like the price would explode, during those type of environments. And but it's prepping, it's getting ready. I think that's the biggest thing. And that's pretty awesome, right? And that can increase as well as the more attractive they look to like institutions, right? Because at the end of the day, the queue is going to continually build up for Ethereum staking. I'm sure it's pretty packed for Solana staking, but people are probably looking for different options as well. what would be one of the next safest options to, stake in validators, it's probably Solana, just because there's a lot of support there from the US. There's support from the crypto space in general. You look at almost every centralized exchange, truly you can tell their conviction in Solana, because they're always like, Base is bridging to Solana, or BS, you can bridge from Solana to BSC now, and all these things. So I think that this is probably one of those opportunities that just, crypto natives really know a lot about right now. And normies definitely don't. They're not even over here, obviously, but this could be something that really attracts the eye of, the larger investor as well, which seems like it already has. So I think this is bullish. And if demand comes back the way it has before in 2017 and 2021, this could really impact the price point for Solana for that period of time.
Yeah, 100%. I think most people right now, they're just like, I'm not selling my Solana, so I'm going to stake it. I'm not selling it at $130. Like, that's stupid. But I do think if Solana gets back over 250, 300, this comes down, right? When it comes to people trying to sell out some, some gain, make some gains and stuff like that. So I do feel like, in downward pressure times, you see more staking. Do you think that's kind of what we're seeing right now, because this price has been so like, depressed?
Yeah, I mean, it's piling up on ETH as well, obviously, because that's just more institutional stuff. But
only 28 to 30% of the ETH is. That was shocking to me. The comparison.
I wonder what the supply difference is between the two. But yeah, of course, people are going to, take out of but it's weird though, because like if you go back to like October of last year and in November, when that stuff started happening, people were getting nervous and were trying to take out of the queues or like get their staked out and stuff like that. But like for Solana to have 70%, there must have been some sort of, large holders, whether it's founders or the founding group or something like that, that's staking a lot. I don't know, but 70% seems like a lot.
I mean, it's been 60% since, I want to say 2022.
Okay, right? So that does sound like more of like, probably like founding groups or like, just entities that have had large holdings of it, and almost kind of like an agreement type of situation. Hey, we're going to stake this to hold the price up. So the fact that it has been staked since 2022 does make me change my perspective a little bit on 60% since then. So I'm not so sure how much like it will affect the upward price trajectory. But look, whenever we were in late 2024 and there was a lot of hype and people were looking for stuff to go into at that time for that short period of Q4, Solana benefited from that probably the most. It jumped up to its all-time high, I think, during that period. And so, it could definitely have that price pump that we saw a little bit of in 2024. But we just need the overall markets to support that. And overall market in our market. Like, so our market, because everybody else likes to party except for us, I guess.
I'm pretty much. I agree. Myself says Magic Eden is an unrecognized big shot in space. I 100% believe that. I think Magic Eden is one of the biggest companies.
So I did find that OpenSea did 45.8 million in revenue in 2025 sneakily, but they did pivot from a pure NFT to broader token trading aggregator. So they did add in member fungible side of it, and I think that helped them a ton. But I know Magic Eden was looking to do something like that, but it seemed like they took the foot off the gas a little bit with that.
They never did tokens. They never said they're doing tokens. Well, I guess they did.
You can swap almost any token over there. Yeah.
So, but you got to remember too, I think the numbers are skewed a little bit because people are air farming, so I think that's a problem. So
true. And Magic Eden already did their token allocation thing.
All right, let's get into our next thing here. Trove. All right, let's talk about what Trove is first, right? We talked about it a little bit earlier, but they came out and they were supposed to be a hyper liquid, a style, perp decks, but they were going to be doing Charizard cards and, Jordan cards and Magic Johnson and Babe Ruth. They want to be the top perp decks for that industry. It's a really hard industry because there is no liquid number. There is no oracle to give you this price action, right? So you have to kind of figure it out on your own and legitimize it. And it doesn't seem like it's possible. So they came out with this strategy, and they were like, okay, we're going to raise, $20 million at a $200 million valuation. Everyone was like, take my money. Everyone was like, I'm in on this. I love it. Hyper liquid, trading cards, perp decks, said all the right stuff, right? And then they do it. They raise the money, about $10 million. And then they come out, about a week later and they say, hey, our biggest investor, he actually pulled out. So we no longer have the 500,000 hype that we need to stake to be a hyperliquid chain. So they raised 11.5 million, around $20 million FTV, originally tied to hyperliquid, and then their biggest partner fell off. And then they pivoted fully to Solana and abandoned hyperliquid after they took the money in. Token launched nearly 20 million. And then they had a 95% drawback. So they launched the token anyway. They wanted their token out there for a reason, right? Not only did they pocket 10 million, but they also wanted to dump on you as well. So then you see it came out at 0.2 cents and is now trading at 0.006. It's down almost 90% now from its all-time highs. This has been one of the biggest talked about things out there, to the point where the Berwick law people are coming out and saying, if you were affected by Trove, you may be entitled to compensation. And their founders like dancing and it's pretty wild. But Fred Guy had the undoxed founder of Trove on his show, undoxed.
That's why he came out and said he's done with undoxed people.
Yes, that is why. It's all kind of making sense now. But I'm personally done with undoxed people too. We won't have. I mean, we don't. You don't need your name. We don't need your full name, but we definitely need an image of you. We definitely need you be on camera. But I don't think I'll ever want to have anyone that doesn't want to appear on camera on the show ever again for this exact reason. Like, what are you hiding, right? Because nowadays with AI, I can take your face and I can find out your name, pretty much, right? If you've ever had a Facebook page or anything, your face alone can give me your full name. So it doesn't even matter anymore at this point. But how do you feel about this entire situation?
I mean, horrible, right? That's obviously a horrible experience. I'm sure they could have worked something out. First of all, 500K, they still have what, 10 million you said, or 20 million that they were.
Well, the 500K was hyper liquid that this investor was going to stake for them.
But how much did the Trove team end up with?
They have 11.5 million.
I mean, they couldn't have put the 0.5 up for the hyperliquid. You know what I mean? I feel like
the hyperliquid 500,000 hyperliquid tokens is not.
500,000 hyperliquid tokens. Okay, so that makes
sense. Yeah, that's a lot of money times which is like $22. So we're talking $11 million. So they would have to put up the entire thing for that, right? And this investor was going to stake it on their behalf, but he's like, no, never mind. And then that's why they pivoted to Solana.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's more of a tough situation to come up with that, right? And so I don't know, man. I know this sounds like crappy, but like it dumped pretty hard, right? Is there any sort of buy opportunity here? Like, or do you think they don't do anything on Solana? They just pocket. I just don't think that they could get away with that. Pocketing 11 million and not do anything at all. I just don't think they could. I don't think they will try to get away with that. If they are, they're dumb, because that's definitely gonna, they're gonna be chased down, by regulators and stuff like that. Yeah, well, yeah, that and so I don't know, but the undox thing, absolutely, I agree with. I think that that's gonna continually be demanded in our space, especially as the environment changes, because it is changing, guys. Like, love it or hate it, the environment's changing. It's going to be a lot more kosher type of dealings, I feel like, and I think that's a good thing, right? It can be a good thing. Obviously, that means that the system probably is going to grab more control of what we do here, but you can always go into your kind of corner if you want to just do Bitcoin and Monero and stuff like that still. But with this is the argument, though, that they have in their pocket. We need more legitimacy in the space because of this $11 million, So
yeah, and like, this is the start of the ICO season that everyone was talking about. Right now we're getting our first rug of that season. So I just don't think like when I was reading about this before, reason I didn't really talk about it, I didn't think it was possible. Like, how do you how do you not have that manipulated? Like, why? If I sell you my Charizard for $11, completely wrecking
Well,
the
you got to do.
price.
Well, no, you got to
know what
do
I
it,
mean? It's
but you
like,
got to do the past 100 sales and average them together.
all right, but let's just say I short, and then I trade
Sell like a
myself
like you sell you could
100 Charizards
yeah, you
for
could sell.
$8 a piece, and then I just pocket the money, and it's me to me. It's a me to me transaction, right?
Yeah.
It's just so easy.
You
to
can
manipulate
technically
that.
but you can technically do that like
You can't short it though.
but yeah, I mean
That's how you make the
that is a
money.
difference. But you could do it with fractionalized NFTs. You know, if NFTs, if someone was just trying to floor those cheap to bring the price, I mean, we
There's no
saw
reason to bring
it.
the price down though, because you can't short it.
Huh? You can if it's fractionalized, if it grows, strong enough. You can put that on the perp stacks.
Where do you do that? Like,
no, I'm just saying you could do that. Like this thing isn't out there yet either, right? But like, for example, like the punk strategy tokens or something, right? Like, or some sort of fractionalized version of that, because fractionalized tokens do exist off of NFTs. We know that they've been here in the past. They're not super they're not super popular, but they have been here. So, like you could do that with a lot of assets, commodities. You could do that with anything, right? Like you could and they do it, by the way. Like TradFi does stuff like that. They manipulate stock prices whenever stuff is being shorted. You know what I mean? So it's out there, but I see what you're saying in that aspect, and I think that I don't even know if the hobby people that are actually in that hobby would like this. I think they would hate it because of that. Because the way that they do business is they say, all right, look at the last 5 sales. All right, I think this is a fair price. And then they're like, negotiate. With this, you're just taking, an average of, because you can scrape eBay easily. Getting that is not going to be hard. Now, making sure that that's a legitimate source of truth, that's where the problem is.
Yeah. But what you said about, this, they already kind of do it with like milk futures and stuff like that. But that's a worldwide asset. It can't be manipulated, so easily. You know what I mean? Like gold, and that's kind of traded the same way, right? Like
stocks
with car. Yeah, like I get it, but still, it's just there's so much liquidity with like Charizard cards. It's like, it's peer-to-peer trading, right? So there's nowhere you can just kind of like just dump. And if you're going to create that, I mean, the manipulation could be so heavy because there's just such a little amount. Like, what is there? 300, PSA 10 Charizards. Like, it's just so easy to manipulate that. I think that's
I mean, I think they would probably push against it too, because now, like the hobby that like has control over how things work, this other industry is trying to like, say what is truth, because you're right, because like if you had like an MJ 86 Fleer PSA 10, I don't know what the pop is on those, but I'm sure they're not huge. There's probably, I don't know what it is, but let's say there's 100 out there. And this way of doing things, because people are doing it, buying spot or perps, right? They can manipulate the price for whenever I'm at a show. No, that's gonna piss me the hell off. You know what I mean? Like, so.
And like I said, you can short if you're about to sell a card way cheaper than you want to because you need the money. You can just short it, right? And then make the difference because you sold it. You know what I mean? So it's just too hard to do that. Like maybe one day we can figure it out. And but I just don't think.
I think it would have to come out of the hobby people. They would have to be like like almost kind of like agreeing to it and then like putting something out there. And I don't think they're interested enough at this point in our space because we're not giving them enough reasons to be interested, to be quite frank.
Yeah, 100%. So any last words on Trove here before we move on?
I mean, I like talking about this stuff just because everybody knows, if they watch the show, that this is kind of, my family has a big background in collectibles, and I want there to be some sort of like synergy between the two spaces. But it seems like no matter what, like some things get going for a little bit. Like Courtyard does a good job, but it's very, I'm not talking about user experience, but more of like being able to create a marketplace and stuff. But it's still very like in its own little corner, and so I like talking about this stuff, and hopefully there's something that can really connect the two industries together.
Yeah, Courtyard's too regulated for me, right? That's the problem with Courtyard. It's just like, if you want to withdraw your money, you have to withdraw to, your PayPal or your Venmo. You can't the USDC that you deposited in, you can't get out. So, I mean, that's one thing that bothers me. But moving along, PancakeSwap actually had a governance vote. They want to cut their max supply to 400 million. So it was 450 million. But this is the first that I've seen this to where they do a governance vote. They actually go into the smart contract and make an edit on that. So they're going down from, so the instead of just burning it, like minting it and burning it, they're actually just going into the smart contract and making an edit saying, hey, it used to be 450 million max, now it's 400 million max. I thought this was pretty crazy. I've never seen anything like this. Do you think we see more of this?
How does that happen?
I mean,
they edit the
it's
smart
an
contract?
editable. Yeah, so it's an editable smart contract. Like and all smart contracts, you can just go into the code and make an edit, right? So that's only scary about these unlocked smart
Oh,
contracts.
the ones that have like proxies to where you can
exactly
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those were kind of flagged back in like, I want to say 2021 after people started doing those, right?
Yeah.
But to have like a large entity be able to have that is, I don't know, man. That to me, that's I don't really love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not these. I mean, it was a governance vote. It was voted upon.
But you know how that can go. The
Yeah, I
group
mean,
can pretty much determine, and that's with everything in life, right? The
yeah.
rich can control everything. Coming down to governance too, man.
Yeah, but like, I mean, Uniswap can do this. I mean, all the smart contracts that were made prior 2023 and the non-pump fund ones, they're all editable, right? Like they're all you can just go in and make changes. It's you're trusting the founders. I mean, that's what it is. You're trusting the founders in the day, right? You're betting on the founders. So, but crypto is not as decentralized as we want it to be. But moving along though, BingX announced that its TradFi business has recorded a 24-hour trading volume exceeding 1 billion, with TradFi Gold accounting for more than 500 million of that. Since the launch of its TradFi offerings, it covers traditional financial assets such as commodities, forex, stocks, and indices, user participation on the platform continues to increase. BingX is a centralized crypto exchange and trading app. What it is, a place to buy and sell and trade crypto, usually with spot derivatives, known for copy trading. So their big thing there is copy trading. But they're fully in TradFi. They have all the stocks that the big ones anyway that you would want, and gold, silver, commodities, and BingX seems to be one of the trailblazers with this TradFi stuff.
I mean, because they've tasted the honey, right? They've tasted that good taste of what could be, right? And we might see more of this, man. Like, especially the smaller, medium-sized exchanges that aren't getting as much volume love as some of these other ones. They're like, wow, like, we just experienced a ton more volume and revenue and stuff for this. Let's get more involved with it. So, I mean, the gold rush is affecting other asset classes in positive ways. Like this it just shows kind of the strength of what's happening right now.
Yeah. Speaking of gold, it is running. But right now with this, so do you think potentially people going to these exchanges like Binance and Coinbase, we do know they're both preparing for this as well. If they start trading stocks, do you think more people start trading stocks over crypto? Do you think this kind of messes our space up at all? Because now you're able to
not
necessarily do
necessarily.
everything you want.
I don't think it messes up our space up really. I think it changes our space, dynamics a lot. And because it helps TradFi, obviously, because now more capital is flowing into these assets. But what it does too is it gives some exposure to the crypto natives that they probably wouldn't be looking into as much, but more access to it too. And that, I mean, dude, that could be in like a really strong advantage that the crypto natives eventually get, is because all this stuff can flow on chain, and people that already trade on Robinhood and do well, like trading options and stuff, that's fine. That they'll probably keep doing that. But the crypto natives, they like to gamble more, so they might be gambling on like new innovative top tech stocks and stuff, which, to be fair, probably can hold a little bit longer than the stuff that we have over here right now.
Yeah.
That's not like an established L1 or L2, but you know, the newer stuff, the startup stuff. But you know, so the advantage definitely could come to crypto natives once all the stuff starts getting on chain and you get familiar with it. And I think the messaging and the KOL stuff is going to change, though, because now you're talking about legitimate companies that are manufacturing things, that are doing, you know, companies stuff in the stock market, right? And so the conversations are going to change a bit. And I think those, you know, the degen conversations will still be there, but they're going to be kind of like, at some point they might be like feeling dumb that they're not, you know, taking advantage of some of this tokenized assets that are coming over here. I don't know what's going to be like, but that's a scenario I could see happening.
Yeah. So my main question here is, do you think TradFi, DeFi, do you think we get rid of these words and we just call it finance?
I think
all kind of just
I think digital, the digital,
it's all digital. It'll all be digital with that.
Yeah, tokenization is going to be more of a like thing, because that's what I'm seeing now, like with the TradFi guys and like, you know, New York Stock Exchange, tokenized stocks or whatever. Tokenized, that is what I'm hearing a lot more than anything.
Yeah, but my question is, in 2 years from now, are we not saying
are we going to be
we're not saying DeFi? Are we just saying finance? Is everything going to be so meshed together to where Polkadot and Tesla are, you know, on the same platform?
But I mean, like, they're still going to have their categories, you know what I mean? Like Polkadot and like the crypto stuff, the stuff that's like actual blockchains, there will be like its own category. But I do think that, you know, TradFi could kind of engulf the entire space. And then like within TradFi now you have like Web3.
Well, TradFi already has their you know, their categories, right? Like robotics and retail and, you know,
what they'll do is they'll just kind of put like
add blockchain. Blockchain just going to be a category in TradFi.
I think so. Where, I mean, if you're asking me to make a decision right now, I would say I think that's probably where we're headed.
Yeah. I think in 2 years from now, if you talk to somebody like a new participant in the space, they're not going to know what TradFi, DeFi, any of that is. They're going to be like, oh, you mean the blockchain category on the stock market, right? Like, I think, you know what I mean? Because they're all going to be trading 24/7. They're all going to be, you know, some are going to be, okay, are you talking about this? Maybe maybe we still say decentralized, right? But I don't, you know, or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But it's all kind of getting meshed together.
Well, some of these bills get through too. I mean, DeFi might be honestly not very relative, like you're saying, anymore to any space, unfortunately.
All right, let's kind of get into the next thing here, which is news from the trenches. We have a lot coming from the guys over at Pump Fund. They actually put out this video. Did you watch the video?
I didn't watch the video, no.
All right, well, I'll play that video real quick. Let me just put my volume up here for you guys. There is some vulgar language, so if you have kids in the car or something, you might want to turn this off, but here it is right here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with my co-fucker to proudly announce we have raised $15 billion. We plan to invest those $15 billion into young founders, just to fuck them over and dump on retail when we exit. Oh, and good luck ever getting a hold of us unless you're real...
So that's it right there. So they came out, and that's fine. That's got to dig into exactly what this is about. But I love your reaction on the video itself.
I think the video is pretty well put together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
South Park
it's kind of
style.
funny. Yeah.
My
Um, I
my
saw
cheap
I saw one
sweat.
of Elon's tweets, and it was talking actually about how him and his co-founders tried launching multiple things over the past like 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
and nothing would stick. Like they would try all these ideas, and nothing would stick until Pump Fund launched, and it took a couple months, and then they realized that okay, this matches product market fit. Like this is
Mhm.
it. And he basically was talking about like how what they're doing with this is to give opportunities kind of to that same situation, right? You can create your idea. And I think more than ever, it's probably going to be a good program because people are using Claude AI so much that there's probably gonna be a lot of applicants for this. But I do think it's moving in the right direction for sure. Um, do they can they get away from the stuff that we talked about earlier, the degeneracy, the guy that was a Claude coder and was coding, he's not a crypto guy, he's just a coder, and he was coding something cool, but then someone found him and say, of course, they thought about like a self-interest opportunity. I'm gonna launch a token, send the funds to him. It worked. It pumped the token to 60 million. He still wants to do his coding. Of course, he's going to gladly accept 6 figures of free money. But now the entire people that bought into the tokens like, do something. Are you going to release this, that, and the other? And he's like, guys, like, I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah,
Like,
we have that in a second.
but you get what I'm saying though. Like, and
Yeah.
so what this does is can maybe legitimize it, but I don't know if we can get away from that.
Yeah. So to me, this seems like a full pivot. Pivot away from streaming. It seems like a full pivot away from the old launchpad style. To me, this is exactly what Virtuals did. Virtuals had a pump fund
It
style
was still
launchpad over
bad
there.
though.
Well, I'm just saying they had that the pump fund style launchpad, and they pivoted to something else. But now they're basically doing this exact same thing. So it does feel like Pump Fund is kind of looking what Virtuals is doing. Virtuals, you have to apply. You have to go there and you have to physically apply to get to be on their launchpad. It's something completely different than what they had. And it does feel like Pump Fund is doing that exact same thing here. So basically what this hackathon is, public hackathon, is you have to present your project to them, whether that's a video or something, and you have 30 days to present them, and they're going to invest $10 million into your project. So this is no longer the old model. This is something completely different. They're calling it Pump Fund. They're not even calling it Pump Fund anymore. Do we see a full pivot, very similar to what like Virtuals did? Because you can't do the old launchpad style on Virtuals anymore. It gets gone. Do we see that happen with Pump Fund?
I don't think so because I don't think they want to get rid of that revenue. I mean, Pump Fund it like just creates so much revenue. Whether all of it's like legitimate and not wash revenue, how much of it is, it doesn't matter. There's gonna be some percentage of that that's legitimate revenue, and that's gonna be a good amount in my opinion. So I don't think they get rid of just the way the launchpad works necessarily, but maybe what they are pushing and kind of supporting. Which I think this is a good move for more of TradFi acceptance. We know that like was it Tolly and the other founders want that. They want more of a professional acceptance of their chain. And I think, Elon being a big part of the volume creation of Solana, I'm sure that there's been some conversations that the Solana founding team has had with Elon, and maybe this has been formed to be like that next legitimate phase for Solana. Because if they can start generating like the next big company that becomes like the next hot thing in any asset class, then they have accomplished their goal of being able to create like the next Snapchat or the next those type of companies, right? And that's probably what Solana wants as a founding team.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it says it in here that you don't need to build a crypto project. It can be an anything project. It doesn't have to be crypto. And that was the biggest takeaway I got from reading this, was basically like them coming out and saying, do I need to build a crypto related project? No. What kinds of projects are you looking for? Projects of all maturities, verticals and traction are welcome. What's the deadline to apply? February 18th. So they're basically coming out and saying, hey, if you're building the next Snapchat, if you're building the next thing, we don't care. We want to invest in it. but this is something different than Pump's ever done before.
Yeah, it's different than what they've ever done before, but the idea has been there. The biggest thing about this space is there's good ideas, but then, the support, if the support's not there, it doesn't matter how good the idea is actually. And you can say, okay, well, that probably has to do with some execution and stuff. Sure, I think execution definitely has to do with that, how you execute your idea, how you roll it out, UI, all that stuff. We don't have enough users for that to be the only thing that can carry it over, because in the real world that works. Execution, idea, great, everything aligned. The real world, you have millions of users on the internet, billions of users on the internet. In Web3, it's such a tight kind of space that you have to have like the support of volume, money. And so if I feel like Pump Fund is an entity that can give that support basically.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The friction is there. Like, if you come out and say, hey, try my Web 2 project, people are willing to just click your button and go into it. With crypto, now you're asking me to sign my wallet. Now I have to have, potentially another wallet that I use for this type of stuff. I need to trust you because I'm giving you access to it. And I feel like and I need to have a wallet, right? If I don't have a wallet, I got to download one. There's just a lot of friction between Web 2 and Web 3, but now we're seeing it kind of be different a lot with a lot of these Privy style wallets like Zora is trying to do, but it's still intimidating to a lot of new people saying that, I don't really want to download a wallet or sign up for Privy, but I think we have to get it to the point where they don't even know they're using a wallet.
Yeah, and that's the whole. Well, I think Privy tries to accomplish that, right? They try to accomplish it.
Yeah,
it's definitely less steps or less complications than downloading a MetaMask on your extension and all that stuff. But you're right. That's how Web 2 went. You sign in with your Google with regular websites and businesses, and so Privy's trying to basically complete that step and just create the wallet address in the background, right? So natives like you probably don't love that, but onboarding people that are everyday people, they love that because they can skip and they don't have to think too hard. And if someone asks them for what's your EVM address or whatever in the future, they're like, I have that, and they can look though and get it if they need it, but if they don't have to, if they don't need it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't like the Privy wallets. Like, I like having my MetaMask and stuff like that, but I'm somebody who's been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah,
right.
It's
so
different.
I don't like change. Yeah, for sure. Last thing on this, Anselm had a tweet about this. He said, not gonna lie, I don't really understand how crypto on chain is functioning at the moment. Company with over 2 billion on balance sheet, talking about Pump Fund, publicly commits to investing millions of dollars in projects on their launch pad once they hit $10 million market cap, and none of them even move. Elon actually came right out and he was like, we're investing in projects at a $10 million valuation. It doesn't mean the projects have to hit that milestone on chain for the hackathon. We're considering, existing and future projects. So it doesn't necessarily mean the specific existing eco projects will get that investment. So he's basically coming out and saying, like, we don't care if you're valued at 1 million or 10 million. We're going to give you $10 million.
Well, it depends
for this project.
Well, if they hit the evaluation, right? So it's going to be determined on that evaluation, right? So it's basically
no, right here. It doesn't mean that the projects have to hit the milestone on chain.
Yeah. So okay, hold on. It says we're investing in projects at a 10 million valuation.
Yeah.
Meaning that their valuation doesn't mean that actually has to hit $10 million market cap. It's what their valuation is of it, how they evaluated that project being worth 10 million. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's where they're coming back and saying, Anselm, you got it wrong. They don't have to hit 10 million. We value them at 10 million though. Because,
exactly. Yeah.
But the market, and that's actually the best approach to take, because the current market is, excuse the French, but bullshit in terms of the way that they evaluate actual builders and projects in our space based on purely on market cap, because they never reflect it correctly, because the people that participate in our space are just only about money, like up only, and that's it.
your number go up. That's all. And they want it quick. They want it fast. They don't give a shit about there's like pump fun is one of the biggest reasons why investing is out of crypto. But
it looks like they're trying to bring it.
It
looks like they're trying to bring it back. Let's see how genuine Elon is here, though, because I think that statement deserves a lot of follow up. You're saying that that's what you're going to do, but let's see if you walk the walk with it.
100%. Let's got to get to our final thing here, which is so we talked about Bags last week. Bags was something that was on fire. They had this new AI meta, and it all really started with this one tweet from Ansem. He basically came out and said, "Oh yeah, Jim, the name's Gastown, the genius level of Dev Yagi created for concurrent and energetic workflows straight from his home desk. Then the crypto kids tokenized it. Now he's adopted." So it all kind of came from this tweet from Ansem that this guy, Steve Yagi, came out and yesterday, and he basically came out and said, "Hi, Gas and CT community. I love the community, but I'm the creator of the sole maintainer of Gastown, which is going viral. It's a tremendous burden, and it's taking most of my day and money. That's where my time has to go. I can't spend much time with CT. I will still drop the occasional blog posts and join streams and podcasts, but I am dedicated to Gastown and have the focus there. I understand. I hope you understand that's the life of the creator economy." So this is the tweet that dropped it almost 90%. I mean, it started going down before this, but it was kind of like the nail in the coffin, and now you're sitting at around 600K. But it didn't just drop this one token; it dropped everything. I mean, Ralph and everything else. But Gastown now is down to about 740K. It gave this man $291,000 though.
Golly.
So, but it's Ansem started this meta. That tweet kind of finished the meta. What's your take on all this? You kind of gave it already, but if you want to give it again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the space needs to stop assuming and putting expectations on people that have never agreed to them, right? So this guy, Steve Yagi or whatever, was just building this. Ansem posted about it. So if they have any, beef, they need to probably go to him. But the problem where, like, I think normal people, builders, get pushed away is that there's these unrealistic expectations that are just set by a lot of these degen community people that are buying tokens. And he didn't ask for the $200,000, but he got it, which is amazing for him, right? And because he's not pumping the token every single day, you guys are going after him like he promised you guys something, and that's just not the case. The case is that, like, he fell into a very fortunate situation, and you guys shouldn't have pumped it to $60 million if you were expecting him to pump the token every single day, because that's just not realistic. I think that attitude needs to change. And then I was thinking when you talked about his X post, sinking the price by 95% or whatever. Like, imagine if that was like a TradFi thing. I mean, I know the CEOs can post stuff that will tank their price, but obviously that's why they're a lot more careful about what they put out there. But they're CEOs. They have this realistic expectation of them. They have a job. Their job is to protect the company in the best interest and fiduciary duty of their stockholders. It's a completely different world that we're in right now, right? Over here. But the expectation is, go ahead.
Elon Musk came out in 2021 and said our stock price is too damn high.
Yeah, I mean,
it dumped the price of Tesla down.
Yeah, and a lot of people got pissed about it. Right? But the average input, like, investigations can get opened because of those kind of things, though, right?
Yeah.
And so from the SEC, but like over here, they just and it's for a split second too. It's like, okay, yeah, this is amazing, so amazing, blah blah blah, for $60 million. Oh, he gave up. Okay, then they dump it down. Like, it's just, the expectation is just so crazy over here, and that's why a lot of different sectors don't take it seriously.
But it's not like this $291,000 just showed up in his wallet. He had to go claim it. And I think once you claim that much money, once you claim it, you're taking on responsibility. You are. No. Then don't claim it. Then don't claim the money.
No, you can't tell me what to do.
But you're claiming the money, so
what?
it's there for you to take it. But now you're taking on this responsibility of claiming that money. You don't have to claim it. You can leave it there and say, "Thanks, guys, this is awesome," but I don't want that responsibility on my plate.
Is the agreement that if I take this, that I have this and this and this responsibility, or is it assumed?
It's not written down, but it's assumed. It's not written down.
It's assumed.
But it's basically. I mean, everything's assumed in crypto. Nothing is written down. Right?
That's the problem, though. That's the problem. Is that whenever you put expectations on like people,
but no one gives you free money. It doesn't happen in this world.
It just did.
That's true. It didn't, because it came with his expectation. And this guy is stressed the fuck out right now, and he's he has to give up. And he could, if someone lost a lot of money on it, he can technically be put in a lawsuit and stuff like that. I mean,
no, he can't.
Definitely stuff.
He cannot be put on the lawsuit. He came out
with his original post, and and you just don't know. You don't know what is entailed of just him taking this money. Nothing is free in life. This money was not free. This was a responsibility taken on by him. If don't take the money, then don't take the money.
If there's nothing written in there to where it's a responsibility, he's scot-free. There's nothing you can do about that, because they told him to claim it. The token guy that launched the token told him to claim it. That's yours, because you've been building this thing, right? So now, I didn't look at his other posts. I don't know if his other posts he said, "Hey guys, I am the leader of this company now," or "I'm doing this, that."
No, he didn't say anything like that. No.
Okay, then that's the problem with the space. Is now, if you were to say the same thing in TradFi, 1,000% go after them, take their head off. That's an expectation that is written out for that CEO's duties. Right. And people mess up all the time in that space, by the way, by saying the wrong thing and all this stuff, and they get in trouble for it.
Is this a learning experience to the next guy? Potentially. Maybe
I think it needs to become a learning experience for the space to grow the fuck up.
But this is a learning experience for the next guy who comes in, and someone just has all this money for him. Or is Bags the problem? Bags the problem for here?
The space is the problem.
The
space is the problem. The space is the problem because they need to stop setting expectations on like stupid situations. Like, what valued this thing to be $60 million? That's a stupid valuation. That's dumb.
No, I agree. But people in the space are dumb.
So the space needs to grow up and do better with that kind of thing. And like, I hate the fact I'm starting to sound more and more like the stock market people, but like this is a perfect example that they can just be like, that's why we don't take you guys seriously. Meme coins, I feel like there's a little bit of a difference on it, a little bit, and it's because there's no meme coin though. I know, but listen, I'm saying the way that they built it up, it was like, okay, this is a huge, like, awesome technological innovation type of thing, right? But like meme coins, still no expectation there. You know what I mean? But like, I can see a little bit of why a value went up for a meme coin community is what I'm saying. Like with this, there's not a community going to form around this, because it's either this guy helps number go up, or we're done with him and we wash our hands. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
I think, if this ever happened to me, right, in this situation, I'm seeing this and someone's like, yo, there's a whole bunch of money waiting, I'm going to stop and think before I press claim.
I think
I'm going to put out a tweet and say, hey guys, but he didn't. He was just like, he took the money and he was like, let's go. And then he was like, oh shit, wait a minute, there's responsibility with this. And I mean, there is responsibility.
Assumed responsibility.
Once you take claim of this money, you're basically saying, I am a part of this with you guys now. Like, I love this. I'm with you guys with it. To me, that's a signal. That's a signal.
I look at it
saying,
as
hey,
like, I look at it as like a donation, unless there's some sort of like agreement.
There's other ways to donate money. We talked about this before.
If I know, but that's the way I look at it. The way that they put it out there. Well, and that's why people are different and have different brains and different perceptions and ways of thinking and stuff. And so like for him, he probably was thinking, okay. I'm sure he talked to Finn or some other people in this too. It was like, okay, so like I can take this. This is no problem type of situation, And if they gave, they said that, then there's no agreement too. Like whenever you connect your Twitter to that, like you're just saying you're claiming the fees. That's all you're doing is claiming the fees for it. And do I think he deserves that money? That my personal opinion, no, but that's just my personal opinion. I think 10 out of 10 people would probably take it. Maybe 9 out of 10 people would probably take it. And then the other person would probably be so nervous about like, what expectations were put on them.
Somebody has to be in these founders' ears going forward and saying, hey, if you do take this, just know there will be potential, just be cautious before taking this, because now there's pressure on you. There's a pressure on you to be the face of this.
I think
I think this bag stuff, I don't think we can do this the way. I don't think this is going to work out in the future with this type of stuff. Like, it needs to be structured better, for sure. Like, I think right now, because I mean, Finn caused this. Finn caused all the stress on this poor guy. Like, he was not a crypto guy. He probably hates crypto now. You know what I mean? Because of this, because he wasn't expecting this, and he signed up for something when he pressed claim, even though he didn't realize it. He signed up to be the face of this project when he pressed that claim button.
Well,
there's no doubt about it.
But he could just log off of crypto or crypto Twitter. He could log off and just that's it. I mean, like,
he's doxxed though. I mean,
so
his family could be
so
targeted.
what? He never started.
It doesn't
project.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, the people that are sick in the head who lost money from this, it doesn't matter to them. They can attack this man. Like that. Well, that's the part that you're.
So they also
family by pressing that claim button, he put his family at risk.
So I do think, like, if anybody has any logic to their brain, they're going to think about these type of things, right? So one thing I will say though is they know who deployed the coin because they put it on X, and they also know that Ansem put a tweet out there. So there you go. Those are, they can trail it all the way back.
I'm just saying though, Steve Yagi guy, when he hit that claim button, he potentially put his life and family at risk, and you can't deny that.
No, I'm not saying that. Like, but I mean, you could say that about anybody that has a show and said that, like, this token's going to go up, and then someone bought a lot of it and they lost a lot of money. You can say that about anybody.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but you're taking responsibility for that. If I come on the show and say, hey, I'm putting this token out there, I'm taking responsibility for it.
But he never said the token was going to go up.
When he claimed that money, he put his life in danger. And I think that we need to start discussing that with a lot of these founders. Hey, if you take this money, you're putting your life at danger. You're putting yourself out there. You're putting it at risk. You're saying that, you're okay with this.
Yeah. So does this, like, education? Sure. And, that needs to be more out there. Education. But the space also needs to be more educated too.
The space isn't going to grow up. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. TradFi is going to come in. We're still going to have this gambling nature. It's not.
But it's going to get smaller and smaller because the smart people are going to be participating in opportunities.
And the dumber people are going to be coming in.
Yeah, but my point is that, like, that area of degeneracy will probably continually fade as time goes on. I think it's going to.
I think it's bigger. I think as mass adoption happens, we do have some people that move along, but I think we get more and more, especially younger people, 18, 19, 20-year-olds coming in. Where are they going to start? They're going to start with to get rich quick schemes. They always do. Right. And I think if we get mass adoption, we're bringing gamblers and
but it's going to
crazy people.
But it's going to be smaller of TVL compared to everything else and the opportunities. Like the TV, you think the TVL is going to outweigh, like, tokenized stocks? And
I think meme coins will always be these things that run to $100 million.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying
12 and 20.
I'm saying comparatively, like, to what comes over here and like how they start to change the way that people trade in our space and look at projects differently and all these things. I mean, Pump Fun is coming out with this new, completely different way of doing things in terms of they actually use the word startup a lot in those posts, right? Yeah. And so if that succeeds, then, I do think that there will always be the meme coin gambling stuff, but I think it gets pushed into the corner as time goes on. I mean, that's just my opinion. We'll see. We'll see who's right in the next, like, 5 years.
Billions.
They make billions off of people that are sick about it.
And I think those people come on chain. Mass adoption is going to bring those people on chain.
Yeah, but you can't compare to how much casinos earn versus stocks value. You can't do it.
Casinos
Stocks
make more than stocks.
No way.
The
Trillions
owner
of
of casino,
dollars.
the owner of casino probably makes more.
BlackRock
than
and Vanguard
well,
managed
BlackRock, they're
$25
money
trillion.
managers.
Well, I don't care. I said the total value of the two areas.
That's such a bullshit.
No,
thing to
no,
say.
I don't
Like,
think it is.
I'm just saying, in our space, in the crypto space, you're going to have TradFi stocks. Everything's going to be tokenized. But I'm just saying that I think the meme coin area right now, from today on, from the market cap of all the meme coins today, is going to be 10x higher than it is today.
It might be,
no,
but also
guaranteed.
the rest of the other part of the space will be valued much more.
But you're bringing TradFi on chain, so that's such a.
That's why I think that, like, whenever.
Take.
No, I don't think so, because I think people are gonna be like, the smart people dabble in this stuff, and then the people that want to gamble and lose money consistently want to go over that.
It's the same thing right now.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
We're the dumbasses in crypto. We're the jackasses who lose money all year, but they all make money.
You're proving my point even more, because as it merges, because you already said you think that's going to happen, that influence is going to come even more in our space directly.
Yeah, I do think the pump fund area of wealth gets bigger, a lot bigger.
Well, I mean, and I think the rest of the area gets a ton bigger as well.
Educating people that, hey, no money is free. If you do take this, you're taking on responsibility, if you like it or not.
I mean, it's up to you, though, and legally you can fight any of that, because you're not.
Yeah, but you might have some crazy guy at your front door.
Sure,
who lost $30 million.
And I think that's the educational part that people just need to know about.
That's my entire point.
And my entire point is that you're not going to be, held liable, because there's nothing in law that can hold you to.
I'm not worried about the law. I'm worried about some crazy guy.
Well, you did say that they could get sued.
In relative areas, right? Like, if you do come in and you say things, not Steve directly, but it's someone who takes the money and says something stupid during a tweet, that person can technically get sued.
Yeah,
right. That was my point in that. It wasn't about what Steve said, but what the next guy could say on accident. Not thinking.
That's
like, I'm going to run this token up, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and then,
definitely that type of situation. That wasn't the conversation, though.
But that was
I agree with that part, but that wasn't, what happened in the situation. But I do agree with that part.
Yeah, the whole thing was just like, you can't educate the space because they're just not going to listen. You can educate the people who take the money. But that's our show for you guys today. Really appreciate one of our biggest shows of the week, last couple of weeks, honestly. Sadly, so we really appreciate every single one of you guys for rocking with us all this time.
Absolutely, guys. Without you guys, we could not do the show. We are very thankful for your support, for showing up, comments, all that great stuff. Keep those coming. But also, without our partners, we couldn't do it. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate that. Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI, as they have their Wizard version 2.0 that can guide you through Merlin Chain's ecosystem, but it can also guide you outside the ecosystem to pick up some tokens that are hot on Solana or BSC. All you got to do is have some Merlin Chain Bitcoin in your Merlin Chain wallet, and it can take care of that for you. But it also can do stuff, obviously, on chain in the Merlin Chain ecosystem, like swap on Merlin Swap or stake. And speaking of staking, there's a Merlin Chain uses a proof of stake security model, and there's 3 ways you can participate. The first way is staking Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. They have their live vault, Bitcoin staking vault, open right now. It is for 3 months, and they're going to shoot for between 8 and 21%. It's not guaranteed, but they're going to shoot for in between that area. The first staking vault, they got 17%. So just know it is locked up for 3 months, though, and you get paid out in Bitcoin once you're able to unlock that. And then there's 2 ways to participate with the Merlin Chain token. The first is the flexible day-to-day staking, which you earn 15% APR on, and you can claim your rewards every single day. You can do whatever you want with those rewards. You can roll them up. You can compound interest them, sell them, whatever you want to do. That's your prerogative. But just know, if you want to withdraw your Merlin Chain tokens out of this staking vault, there's a 7-day cooldown period. And then the last option is the bonded option, which is a 6-month lockup period. You earn 45% APR on this one. But a cool thing that they added was you can claim your rewards daily for this as well. So that's really, really awesome. But it is locked up for 6 months. So just know that. Head over to merlinchain.io to learn more and follow them on their X account at Merlin Layer 2. And then our next partner is satsman.fun, which just launched their decentralized option for their Launchpad, which is a Bitcoin Layer 1 Runes Launchpad that utilizes ICP's tech stack to make this a fast launchpad for a good experience. But they just opened it up to where anybody can launch their own token. So if you're interested, go over to satsman.fun and launch a token. Just test it out. It's really easy. They do have someone launched a token called Satoshi, and that is the actual 7-digit ticker, Runes ticker on Bitcoin Layer 1 that just opened up. So they had that reserved for sure. You can see that it's starting to build up some momentum over there. So check that out. If you are going to launch a token over there with a community, reach out to the Omnity team. Let them know. You know, they definitely are interested to try to give some support. Same thing with us as well. Just shoot us a message. Let us know what you're thinking over there. But check this out. You want to be ready in terms of how to use this before, you know, the Bitcoin Layer 1 ecosystem picks back up and Runes start to pick back up, because as you saw with other areas, with, you know, Magic Eden, with Dog, Billy, and then you had Odin with Crypto Berg that got 500 million. Now Satsman.fun has their launchpad to be able to launch Runes as well. What's going to be the next Dog? What's going to be the next Crypto Berg? We're going to find out very soon, but jump over there, check it out. You can also secure the future short tickers, Rune tickers as well. As long as it's within 30 days out, you can start, you know, bidding for those right away. You can check that out there and learn how to do it. By the way, if a token doesn't mint out, you can get your Bitcoin back. So that's, you know, definitely take the risk out of that. And if it does mint out, they take the liquidity of the mint over to richswap.io and you can start swapping away over there. There's about 3 or 4 tokens that are already over there from the launchpad. So check that out. And you can see other tokens there like Hope You Get Rich, which is the main utility Rune token for richswap.io, which also utilizes ICP's tech stack to make it a fast experience there. So you don't have to wait for these 50-minute blocks. So head over to satsman.fun, you know, launch a token over there if you're interested, just to test it out. It's up to you. You know, not financial advice, of course. And then check out richswap.io to see, you know, how it swaps and all that liquidity works over there. We appreciate you guys for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. As always, you have a few more minutes. What am I checking out? OnChainRevolution.io. Brand new article just dropped. Crypto market update. We drop these every single day. Check these out if you're interested. They're very, very quick reads. You can knock them out in 2-3 minutes and really try to understand what is happening in the markets. And if on top of that, if you guys need a VPN, we have the NordVPN link here. That'll take you to our NordVPN. And that'll basically give you a great deal. So if you go to nord.com, they're going to charge you $11.59. But if you lock it in with our site, you get it for $3.39. Lock it in for 2 years, 70% off. Set it, forget it. This will allow you to use stuff like MEXC. This will allow you to do stuff like Hyperliquid. And there's a lot of other things now that are geo-blocking you for no reason. And using a VPN kind of gets you through that for sure. I noticed yesterday when I was on Pump Fun that like when I did it to England or Europe, and Pump Fun wasn't allowing me to use Pump Fun. I had to do it through like a Privy wallet. So that right there, but then I changed it back to the US and it was fine. It was the first time that I ever had to change it back to the US to use something, which was weird. But definitely if you are in England and you want to use Pump Fun, I mean, a VPN, putting it to the US is the way to go there. And on top of that, if you guys need a ledger, if you're going to buy a ledger, make sure you guys do it through us. Make sure you get our discounts here. Ledger Nano X, Ledger Nano Plus, and everything else. Ledger is the most trusted hardware wallet out there. You know, they might use your data, but or lose your data, but they won't. Your hardware wallet stays safe. It's never been hacked. It's the most trusted hardware wallet out there. If you do choose a hardware wallet, choose a Ledger and choose it through us. So, but yeah, that's our show, guys. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.